Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a wonderful night tonight. Tonight, we are joined by Rads Arms and the one and only Charlie Cox. We are going to be discussing all things GunTube, maybe to include Trench Grenade himself, who just happened to hop in here. So, but before we get into that, gentlemen, Rads, thank you for coming on the show. Charlie, thanks for coming on here. How's your night going, gents?
I'm all right.
Not too shabby.
Sick, fantastic. And
What's up, good sir, Rads Arms? I have did not say hello yet. How you doing?
Yeah. It's all right. How you been?
All right. Damn, I feel like I brought way too much energy to that. Fuck my bad.
No, you're good. We need the high energy, the intensity. Trench actually did hop on. Trench, how's your night going, man? Working out? Sick. Well, I don't really know how to start the conversation here. So this kind of came about from last week. Let me pull this up. Trench Grenade has been making some videos on Glock torture tests, so to speak. Starts back here. We have Glock 19 Gen 5 torture test, 3,000 rounds of disappointment. Glock perfection is cooked. End of an era. Glock 19 torture test debrief. Glock's final stand. Glock uncommanded discharge pandemic. So lots of videos on the issues that he's been having with his Glock, and he's been catching some heat for it for some of the takes that are in there. Mr. Rads Arms put out a video on YouTube and Instagram. It is a 12-minute response to the torture testing, basically calling out everything that he sees as an issue with it. So Rads, I'm not sure if there's a specific place you want to start or to talk about, but I feel like this is a good little introduction for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, it really started with just the sites. I didn't even know who Trench was. Someone sent me a video, or I saw it. I think it might have been Alex Krychek is who I saw it from. And like with everybody in the industry, I saw it, made fun of it. And then Trench got a little upset. So then I wanted to come up. I had decided to watch the video itself. And then I came up with reasons because the burn down and torture test, that stuff's been done before. There just wasn't a lot of documentation, ammo, stuff like that. The gun's older. There are just ways to do it. So I just went piece by piece by the video and kind of called out what I saw on it.
Yeah, because I think initially one of the big issues, quote unquote, that was had was with one of the iron sights. The front sight had come loose. Basically, it was an aftermarket sight installed by a armorer, not installed by Trench, if I remember correctly. But that had come loose, but it wasn't even a factory sight. So I mean, Trench, you could probably.
Yeah, I didn't blame the gun at all for that either. Let me know if the weight noise is too loud. I got like 3 more sets here, but I didn't blame the gun in that case anyway. The front sight came loose. I said, hey, we're going to pause testing. If Mr. Rad Arms went back and counted, he would see that I fired 600 rounds in that video alone on camera, and I showed all the ammunition in that video alone. And then the second video, I show all the ammunition laid out as well. No, there was an extra can of ammo, but I showed, I think, like probably 800 rounds on camera. That video fired on camera, and I had done a poll previous to that and asked my audience if they wanted to see every single round fired. And my audience said, no one has that kind of time. They want to see a ton of shooting and they want to see the major highlights. What Rad's Arms has highlighted is that the lubrication was unfair. I want to state that he is insane because I've lubricated the M17 and the Glock 19 Gen 5 in the exact same manner, over lubricated, because FUDs will say, well, you didn't lubricate the gun, so now it's unfair. So I over lubricated them kind of as a meme. I understand how to shoot a gun, Mr. Rad's Arms. You're not educating me on anything from your take. But his whole argument is that there's no science behind it. The guns were treated in the exact same manner within a 2-week span in the exact same dirt hole, like the exact same dirt hole within a two-week span. And then his claims are also that my gun is a cop trade-in, which is funny because anyone that has an FFL license can go look that up. It would be doxing myself instantly if you did that. You could go look up my mixed background and see that it's only registered to me. So those are all of his claims. He claims it's not scientific. He actually photoshopped a video of my own content and said that they were in 2 different areas. But if you look at the area, I'm always standing in the same exact spot where I park my Bronco at my range. And I don't know how else to have repeated the test. They're dropped in the same manner on the same target. They're slammed against the same manner on the same target. They're buried in the same manner. The tests are exactly the same. No, I didn't go buy a bag of soil, but I don't have that kind of money. So for some of his arguments that he's going to present here tonight, I do this for the layman. I don't do it for a laboratory. But Rads, if you want to donate to the laboratory fund, hey, let me know, dude, because you're a hater on me asking for funds, even though this is my part-time job. As you know, I'm in the Focus knows where I'm at right now. At training, so I don't have time to sit here and build a laboratory for Mr. Rad's Arms. I'm sorry, man. But yeah.
All right, so we don't have money for a bag of soil, but we got money for at least 6,000 rounds per gun.
Are you familiar with my channel? Are you familiar with how many rounds
Yeah,
I
I
put through?
familiarized myself after you got all
Good.
mad.
Did you? How many rounds? How many rounds did you see me fire on camera on my channel?
Not a lot.
On
Not
my
a lot.
whole
People
channel,
time
you've
lapse.
never.
Where's the picture of the ammo? I could go down this list over and over again. The guns were used.
Charlie,
That's
we've
what-
talked before, and Focus, we've been.
We haven't
buddies
really
for a while.
talked. I mean, I think you messaged
we-
me on
we-
Instagram like once.
And then I have an FFL. You can't look up somebody's information and see what gun they purchased and when they purchased it. The only reason I know it's 5 years old is because I purchased my gun around the same time, and your serial number is older than my serial number.
You can't reference a serial number based on that's a manufacturer date, sir. Not
Yes, you can. I could
purchase
call
date.
Glock right now, and I put I'll buy you $1,000 worth of ammo that your gun was made before mine. I'll give you my serial number. You can call. Serial numbers were in
You
order.
can look up whenever it was made, but the point I'm trying to make is I shoot a metric fuckload of bullets on my YouTube channel. A lot of bullets are fired on my channel. If you ask like ChatGPT, how many bullets has this channel fired? It would say upwards of 50,000 easily on camera. Easily.
Yeah, but you bought that gun in 20. You said you bought that gun new, right?
No. We're talking about, do I shoot a lot on my channel? You say I have no evidence of ammo.
6,000
You say
rounds through a Glock 19 since 2020 is not a lot of rounds.
No, that is not when the testing started either. 2020, I didn't have a
And then
YouTube
you said
channel.
I photoshopped that focus. If you want, you could pull up the 320 video
Yeah,
where he's
let's
wearing
pull
it
it
in
up.
the Glock.
Let's pull.
You can see the colors different. The pine needles are like just dying versus dead.
So let me see. So we're talking about this one right here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go. I don't know exactly what ones they are.
Well, I can just find the P. I'm sure it's under P320 here.
It's like when they're wiping the dirt.
Torture test or honest review. The problem is the thumbnails all look the same. Torture test debrief. It's got to be this one, right? Well, actually, I can't really. Actually, we're not on.
If
YouTube
you go to my
anymore.
channel, and go like 4 videos back, it'll be the 5,000 round torture test. It's the second video. If you want, which video do you want to see, Rads? You want to see the Glock 19?
The
or
one
you
with
wanna see-
where you're doing you're like wiping all the dirt in them and
This
stuff, and the
looks
pine
like-
needles are around.
Well, here it's probably this one then. Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go. The pine needles there are older, so it's definitely a different time of year.
Bro, look at the background. You want to talk about vegetation? Look at the background and then pause this, screen clip that, then go
Yeah,
to the
go
other
the
one.
320.
In the exact same spot. It's literally the exact same. I just
The
filmed
brown
it.
is red. The ground is brown.
Look.
It's later.
What is your accusation?
I'm just
What is
saying,
your-
you had a lot.
No, what
and
is
we
your
talked about-
exact
let's talk about,
accusation?
hold on. Let's talk about oiling the guns. Anybody?
No,
who's been
don't move the
at all-
goalpost. Don't move the goalpost.
I got a
What
list,
is your
man. I'm not moving the
accusation?
goalposts. Look at see.
What is your
Anybody who knows
accusation?
leaves and pine needles knows those are fresher than the ones in the Glock video. It's a different time.
Do you know
different
leaves and
time of
pine
year.
needles? What is your experience in leaves and pine needles? You have a professional.
Wow,
Like
I grew up
background in
around them.
this? Oh,
You know,
okay.
you just
Well,
can't answer any of the questions, man. Where's
So-
the ammo? Did you buy the
Well-
guns new? You can't. Why did you
Well,
soak
hold on,
the Glock
before we
in
move the
oil when everybody
goalpost.
knows you can't soak a Glock in oil? That's common sense. It says it right in the manual.
Before we move the goalpost,
You don't
let's talk
soak
about
it
the
in oil.
time of year. What is the purpose of bringing up the time of year? What is your argument?
Because
for
the
that?
guns weren't done. You didn't do a true torture test. You did over time, a long time. Those guns were bought in years ago.
Are you familiar with the unboxing video of the SIG M17 on
Look,
my channel?
it looks like your channel goes back 2 years, and that gun's from 2020.
The SIG
I can put the
M17 is
pieces
from
together
2020
all day.
now.
I got a massive list sitting here in front of me.
You're good, brother. Hey, so my question is, what is your point you're trying to make with the pine needles? What is the
And
actual
you want the
point?
entire different time of year. The guns weren't done. That's the small part. I picked apart bigger things that you can't answer. The pine needle is
They
tiny.
were not done in different
It was
times of
done
year.
back to back.
They were done within the past 3 weeks of right now.
What's one of
Also,
the bigger
now that I'm
things?
looking-
Because I feel like he's not gonna.
No.
The needle thing
Well-
ain't going anywhere.
So can
No,
I
but I can say
interject
right
here? So
there
I
in that
think
picture,
what
too.
Rads is trying to start with. Let's start with one thing at a time. So specifically, it is the time of year and the variance, right?
Yes,
so that's
the
Rad's
variable
argument.
Introduced.
So
And the ground
if
is wet there.
and even like I'll take it a step further. Like even if you did it at the exact same time but in 2 different spots, that is still a variable, even if time is relatively similar. Just doing it in 2 different spots, different dirt composition, whatever it might be, that does add a variable by definition, right? So I think
What if I
Rads is
sent?
looking for.
What if I sent you
Well,
the
it's-
metadata focus? What if I sent you the Apple screenshot of both videos when they were recorded?
But it
Rads,
looks
would that be
very
sufficient?
well, so I think that would go to the
It could
time
clear
argument,
that
but I
part
think
of it up, but the ground
I
is
think-
wet there too.
Do you want me to do that right now? I can clear this up right
I'd
now.
rather see the ammo receipts.
Why would I give you my personal last 4 of my credit card and where I shop on a receipt? Because I don't even buy them in person anyway. I buy them online. The vast
Also, you buy
majority
them
from
you buy it
PSA.
retail.
PSA online, bulk ammo. The vast
Okay, so
majority.
like $7,500 worth of ammo.
A lot of ammo. Yes, it is a
In
lot of
12-day
ammo.
window based on the videos.
It was within a 3-week window, probably a month window, total. Like all videos.
And all the testing was done in that
all-
window.
Every time I upload a video, the video was filmed within 3 days of the upload. typically speaking, unless it's a major upload. Now, some of these videos I would consider a major upload, like the Glock I knew was going to get kickback. The SIG video I knew was going to get kickback because Glock guys hate SIG guys hate Glock guys. That's just how it is.
I mean, I'm not a Glock guy. I just call bullshit when I see it.
Well, hold on. Let's just, before we panic here, what I'm saying is I can provide all the metadata to Focus of when the videos were recorded because it was recorded on an iPhone. So that will settle that right away. The next point of the guns being new, I did an unboxing on my channel of the M17 within the past 4 months. That gun was brand new. The Glock, I've never done an unboxing because that's been my carry gun. I didn't want to do an unboxing. I had no intention of doing a burn down with that.
You just debunked your whole test. One gun was brand new. One gun was 5 years old, carry gun and used. That's like
it is not a 5-year-old gun.
Yeah, it is.
It's my
like
carry gun. It's never been
taking a vehicle with 200,000 miles on it.
So is your argument that my carry gun that probably had 2,000 or 3,000 rounds on it?
My argument is that your test, it wasn't a real test. It wasn't done right.
So this is the point. The Glock probably had 2,000 or 3,000 rounds on it. The SIG M17 has 0 rounds on it at the start of testing. If that's the point you're trying to prove, then there you go, you win. But that proves nothing. The failures of the Glock had nothing to do with the amount of rounds that have been put through it at all.
We have to assume there's 2,000 or 3,000 rounds through it. The gun's used, man. I would have respected if it was 2 brand new guns. You wouldn't even have got my attention. That's how it started.
You know that I just bought a Glock 17 Gen 5 and a Glock 19X brand new, and I'm going to do it super Hickok 45 FUD style for people like you, Glock fanboys like you. That's the way to do it, man. That's exactly what's going to happen, and you're not going to like the results because, well, hopefully it passes, right? Because it is my carry gun. I got to get a set in here, but it is my carry gun, so hopefully it does pass, right? I do like Glock, but the point is, the testing was as fair as I could make it, man. The whole different point of gear, I'll disprove that right after this stream is over. Saying that the gun was a police trade-in, that's just a bold claim that you can't back up. The gun was my carry gun. Anyone that's a long-term viewer of my channel knows I've carried that gun for a long time, so that's debunked too. Saying that I hadn't put a lot of rounds and I have a history of accusing me of lying and not putting in the amount of rounds I said through. If you go to any burn down series on my channel, I've done a Ruger RXM, I've done a PSA AK, I've done a number of guns. None of these times have I ever lied. So for you, the first person ever to accuse me of lying without evidence and saying bring receipts, no, you have to bring evidence. You can't tell me.
Don't watch any burn down. Those guys always post their cases of ammo. Cases of ammo. That's a huge. Why does other people posting cases? For somebody that's asking for their followers to purchase them ammo for a test and can't buy a $5 bag of soil, you telling me you went out in 3 months and spent maybe almost 10 grand on ammunition and didn't take a picture of it? That is a huge flex. Dude, that's a lot of money. When you're not sponsored, just to do something yourself to prove a point.
I am sponsored.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, Charlie.
No, you're good. I'm listening. Are we just on Rumble right now?
So what happened is YouTube took down the stream, and I do not know why. It took down the stream about 3 minutes in, so we are still live on Rumble. So
okay,
I posted the link
people are
everywhere.
saying
So
I could
we're
say
still live. We're still good.
say certain words. I just want to make sure.
You can say faggot and stuff like that.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, I was going to ask. Say faggot. What was the goal of the torture test? That guns don't work when they get too dirty? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because it seemed like the conclusion was like Glock is trash. I don't know. What was the goal with it? I'm thinking in the point of view of like viewership, right? Like new shooters getting on there and they see a video, they don't know what they trust, The goal was to
give a head-to-head comparison between the MMP, eventually the Beretta M9A4, the Glock 19. It was going to be a 19X, but I didn't have a one in new condition, so I didn't do that. I did the 19 Gen 5 instead, and the M17 because I've tested the M18 in the past and I've tested the RXM and a number of other guns, right? Just not to this extreme level, but the goal was to compare the Glock, the MMP, and the SIG in the exact same condition with the exact same test. That was the goal.
Just with dirt? I don't know. I watched the video while working earlier, but
so there's 3 different basic tests.
And I saw you slap it against the steel like if it were like a porno or something. That was weird.
Right. It's like 5 different tests, really, if we were to like break them down. So just a regular high round count.
What's high round count? How many rounds?
Both guns. The SIG went to 5. The Glock in the video was at 3, just filming in the session. But so basically it's a high round count, burn down style.
That's just kind of breaking in.
Yeah.
I'm not here to shit on you too hard, but that's not like a really hard round count. And then keep going. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. So a 2,500 round baseline test, stopping roughly at 200 rounds every time to event the cook off, just because based on where I live, the ambient temperature is already pretty high where I live. So 200 rounds and then stop, 200 rounds stop, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, when we get to that baseline, begin the, normally I do drops, then mud. Drops, then mud, then water and sand in that order with more drops after. So the structure is the same, the tests are the same. But if you could say like, oh, what if a pebble got in there, or that's always going to happen. You know what I mean? If it's not exactly you can't replicate a dirt test. No dirt test is going to be the same as the next. Even if it was soil, the soil could easily bind up a trigger in one, in a bag of soil, and then not bind up in the next. So that was the goal.
What test was inconclusive, or from what you just said, it sounds like it wasn't very conclusive. Then
if I was
just like what Rad's Arms was saying.
Well, yeah, Rad's point is, hey, man, it's inconsistent. It was 2 different areas at 2 different points a year. It was not in 2 different areas. It was not in 2 different points a year. But if I was to play devil's advocate against my own test, yeah, maybe I slapped it one more time, right? With
no. So like, let's just take out 2 different areas or 2 different times a year, right? Like, let's try and
well, actually, say that. Number one, I think the biggest thing is if you just compare the videos next to each other, one is dry. The Glock is very dry. Whereas the P320 video, everything is very wet. So the soil consistency is objectively different between the 2 tests. If you want to remove as many variables as possible, you would simply just buy a 15-pound bag of garden soil, right? And then just use the exact same soil in a controlled environment rather than whatever place happens to be close to you at the time. Now, again, that's all predicated
you gotta realize
upon how serious. No, I know, but it's all predicated on how serious you take like destructive environmental mud testing type stuff from a YouTube channel to begin with.
Yeah, and I think another underlying point was so I was getting accusations, if you remember the group chat, right, Focus, I was getting accusations of being the worst gun tuber ever because I was even giving SIG a platform, because I even gave SIG a opportunity to pass a test. Not much less compared against a Glock. This is like a few weeks ago, right? So before I even brought Glock into the picture, I was getting accusations of Ron Cohen, the Goobers type of jokes, right? Oh, the Goobers fanboy or the Goobers battle buddy, that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to continue the test now because you guys are blindly filled with rage, not objective. Like no one's actually, outside of memeing, people aren't taking anything serious. Like, okay, I'm going to do a test. Just because people are hating, I'm doing a test now. So I conducted the test that we're talking about here tonight, and it's only kind of strengthened my position based on the Glock fanboy outcry to do more testing, because the Glock fanboys, limp wristing, over lubrication, that's all they have to lean on. And it's like, bro, if this is really the status that we're at in the gun community, and which is not a real thing, by the way, that have Hop openly defending, yesterday openly defending Glock sights in a video, but in the same video he posts, yeah, Glock sights are awesome and just fine. And then in the same video he says, well, my Glock sights are a little dinged up. And he proceeds to ruin a Shadow Systems and a Glock with aftermarket components, right? And have to fix them in his video. And then to see the outcry, this isn't to like single out Hop, this is just to make a point. All these guys are, they're comparing SIG versus Glock versus M&P, whatever. But whenever anything goes wrong with the Glock, you have this emotional response that is not based in reality. It's based in this fanboyism, right? Like, I know Charlie likes Glocks, but if his were to fail tomorrow, I would expect him to make a video say, hey, my Glock 34 died today. Who cares? It's a freaking tool.
Yeah, but I'm not putting like random mud in my shit. You know what I mean? I don't expect it to die tomorrow.
And that's another high road that a lot of guys take, is like, this is an unrealistic test. Who gives a fuck? It's called having fun. I'm testing the guns. It's a real component for me, for guys that do conduct individual movement techniques with an M17. It's a real test for me. Maybe not, burying it intentionally, but having austere environment of sand and mud and water, that is a real test. So maybe for guys like Charlie, who's on the flat range, literally doing a drill for USPSA is not a real test, but for some.
All right, shots fired. Let's go.
Bring it on, man. I mean, I'm just speaking the truth here, because for a soldier or a Marine, like.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
I'm not talking about my service. If you pay
no, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have you guys seen that video?
When did I reference? I wasn't referencing my service. I was referencing.
I just wanted to thank you for your service.
Okay. Well, thank you for your fight range competition.
That's what you say next. That's what you say next. But you've won a lot of competitions in and out of uniform, haven't you?
So to answer Charlie's question, yes, I have won competitions in uniform. If we want to go down that rabbit hole.
No, I'm just asking. I've won a lot of competitions in and out of uniform, like you said on one of your videos.
I missed the last part. I'm not sure if there's a point you're trying to make or a question or.
No, I'm just asking. You said in one of your videos you have won a lot of competitions in and out of uniform.
Yes, that is a factual statement.
Okay. Can you send me your practice score?
That would directly dox me.
Okay. Well, I already have your practice score, so that was a lie. And I'm not going to dox you. I'm not going to throw it out there. I have no interest in doing that. But since we're talking about these tests,
let's talk about the practice score. Let's talk about the practice score. So you say that I'm a liar. I guess I would have to go pull it up. I'm literally walking out of the gym right now. But I believe I shot a USPSA competition, carry optics. I'm trying to remember when. I can't say the range, but you can see the range, the most recent one.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I have no interest in
Okay.
doing
Well, the most recent one, I took first place in my, I think is it division or class?
You don't know? I thought you've won a ton of them.
I am an excellence in competition, bronze pistol and rifle badge holder. That is I would consider that a pretty significant achievement for military competitions.
You say your last USPSA?
Yes, the last USPSA.
The one in February?
I would have to go to my Instagram to reference, but
okay. What division were you in?
I believe I was in carry optics with a staccato.
And you said you took first?
Yes.
So staccato, you wouldn't be in carry optics.
Yeah, you would have to be in limited optics with a staccato.
Here, I'll just.
1 second, I'm about to switch over audio real quick.
And I'm not trying to dog you for not winning. I'm just trying to go over the accuracy of the situation, right? Because you're saying Rads Arms is wrong, and I'm right. Essentially, I don't know that he's full of shit and you're not. So I'm just trying to bring accuracy to the situation. So looking at it, no, definitely not. So I'm just trying to look for these wins, right? Because when viewers watch your channel and they see something like this, a test, especially if they're new shooters, it might dissuade them from getting a certain gun or going towards a certain gun. So it's just how well are you thinking out this information you're putting out? And again, you can't be 100% all the time, but I mean, this is kind of like a Glock or whatever handgun being a failure because it was put in mud, right? See how I'm kind of linking everything together? Like viewers should be able to trust you, at least trust that you're hopefully putting out the right information. Seems like you're just kind of fighting it. And since I'm flat range, so, I mean, maybe I just don't know, right?
I missed the first part of what you said, Charlie, but again, the purpose of the test was to give the truth. The Glock failed the same exact test as the SIG. Why is that controversial?
Yeah, you keep saying same exact.
Brand new gun versus a brand new car versus an old car driving across country.
So how about this?
The old one's less reliable. Why wouldn't it be? Hold on. Glock recoil springs don't last forever, man. Just you ever talk to a guy? You ever talk to Joe Chambers or listen to any of his stuff? How long does a flat wire recoil spring last? Let's talk about a Gen 3 gun. Flat wire recoil spring. How long does it last in reality?
A Glock recoil spring, the first spring you have to change out on a Glock, I believe, is 7,000 rounds. And then 10,000 rounds for all springs in the handgun.
That's not a reality, though. Glocks are notorious for not going back in the battery when the recoil springs start to get a little bit weak.
And SIGs are notorious for going off in the holster. Why did mine not go off in the holster during the test?
It hasn't yet. Can I ask you a question, though, outside of this? Not arguing. Now that you put that and you ran that SIG, though, just out of curiosity, have you inspected any of those parts that everybody's think might be the failure? On a serious note. Yeah. The stuff that they're saying is wearing prematurely and causing the issue?
Yeah, dude. Every time I do one of these videos, I do a what's it called? A debrief video, where I show it on the camera as best. I'm not an armor, right? I'm just I'm just a dude, right? And I want to circle back to Charlie's point because now it's rubbing me the wrong way. Charlie is basically telling me that I haven't done what I've done, which is like
that's exactly what I'm telling you. Unless you have two different practice scores.
No, not to my understanding.
Okay, then you definitely haven't done what you've done. And I'm only firing shots because you fired shots, man. So.
I mean, why would I? Okay, we'll
yeah, why would you lie?
I mean, dude, I literally keep this here as a meme. I keep this in my vehicle.
I don't care. What is that, dude? I have 100 stolen valor ribbons, dude. Okay.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Are you accusing me of stolen valor?
USPSA stolen valor, and that's way more serious than regular stolen valor.
Okay, so clearly you're either memeing or we have nothing to talk.
No, I'm being serious. I have your practice score right here.
Okay, well, it's obvious to me that you're here to meme or because accusing somebody of stolen valor. Accusing somebody of stolen valor is not a
USPSA stolen valor, not regular stolen valor.
Dude,
please get it correct.
Fuck USPSA stolen valor. Like fuck the meme that you're trying to go for. Like.
What Charlie's trying to say here is that when you make a statement like I've won many competitions in and out of the military. But I think with Charlie's point, he has your practice score. I don't have your practice score up. I have no idea. But Charlie's point is he's just looking at your practice score and he's not seeing wins outside of your military record, right? I think that's Charlie's point.
Yeah, I've never claimed to be a grandmaster or whatever, but I have won steel challenges. I have won the most recent USPSA match that I've competed in.
You didn't.
Okay, well, he said, she said. Like
no, it's not he said, she said. I'm literally looking at it.
Okay, well.
And you know it. You know it, man. So, like, let's not fake the fun. But the thing I'm kind of circling back to, right? If that's something you say, it's obviously not the truth. And then we're going to a torture test, and you're saying I did these things the same way. Rads Arms is putting out points like you didn't do it that way. So how are we supposed to trust you without maybe certain things that he's asking for? Well, receipts. I don't know if you want to. You don't have to, but you can black out certain information. You could ask him, hey, if I send it to you, please don't share it, and also black out information. I mean, simple as that. And also USPSA stolen valors on joke.
So Rads Arms has not proven or made any valid claim as to my testing.
You did it yourself. You said one gun was brand new, one was 5 years old. That's done. The test is over. Done.
One gun was
5 years
fresh out
old.
of the box with 0 rounds. The Glock 19 was my carry gun.
Yeah, for 5 years.
Yes.
If you bought it brand new, like you claimed.
No, I don't. I can't put a timestamp on when I bought the gun, but
I can put a timestamp on mine, and it's a whole letter behind on the serial number.
Okay, so we'll give you the W and say that, okay, one gun had my, obviously I've been carrying it for a while. I don't know if it was 5 years, right? The Glock 19, but even then, are you saying that a Glock with 2,000 or 3,000 rounds can't beat a SIG with 0?
It's still not a fair test. It's a massive variable in the test. Massive.
Okay, I agree, and that's why I bought 2 brand new Glocks to test it again.
And if you do it again, I do recommend the soil thing. Get that back. If you go back, I don't even remember who the guy that was that did it, but I know that years ago, Jaeger was involved in it, and they shot that Gen 3 gun, like guys loading mags, and to the point where the end of the plastic recoil guy broke off and shot out of the gun. He was still running it. Yeah, I think it was Jaeger. And then there was another guy who did the soil test and different stuff, and he buried a Glock 21 for like 2 years. But those guys, and I want to say the testing with the 21, the USP actually did a little better, I think, in the dirt and stuff. So like, I'm not a Glock fanboy by any means. I mean, I carry a J frame most of the time. That 19 doesn't get much use anymore. But I didn't think it was I thought the test was terrible. That's all. I just saw the gun wear. I'm like, that's not a new gun. The SIG looks brand new. That's all. I called it out. You showed up in my DM and you were an asshole, and I called you out on it.
Yeah, but the problem now is, because I'm going to test I'll probably test the 19X first, right? I'll probably test the 19X. I'll probably put more control variables in effect, right? But now I don't have a brand new M17. You see how this is just going to be like a never ending, I don't have the money. I'm not trying to be complain about finances here, but I already bought the 2 brand new guns. I don't have the money to sit here and okay, now another M17, you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to even do them side by side. What if you just did the 19X by itself? Just run it through its paces and see how it does. You know what I mean? Don't compare it to a gun that's already been run through the paces hard.
Right, and that's the current plan, because my audience basically was like, hey man, we really want to see the MHS gun. Hopefully I didn't lose you. I'm backup cameraing right now.
No, you're good.
My audience really wants to see the 19X because it was the MHS, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Because a lot of guys were upset by the 19, and I said, I get it, man. I get it. Let's do it again. We'll do it with a brand new 19X. Because I was upset too, because it does impact a dude's psyche when you see your gun fail. I'll meet you halfway with that. When it's like, damn, you don't want to see the Glock fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't care what gun it was. If it was the sight that came off an M&P and I watched the same video, it could have been a Taurus. I was just calling out what I saw. Like I said, I was a Glock fanboy back when I lived in Mass, because they were off roster, they were cool to have. But after 20 years of playing, let's find the next Glock killer, I circle all the way back to a 19 after all that time. It's the go-to. It's known as one of the best guns. So you're going to get that, right? You're going to get that from people. It's like saying, I don't know, it's what do you guys call the sample of one? It's like having a Toyota Tacoma. Everybody knows a Toyota Tacoma is a reliable, good truck, but you got that one person. It's like mine was a giant piece of shit. So they're all pieces of shit. It's the same idea.
Obviously I take people's constructive criticism, valid criticism, to heart, right? I've taken this whole thing to heart, even though I do feel like the Glock let me down because the trigger bound up. The trigger wouldn't even reset. If you go watch the video again, the trigger had me sketched out in the video, because there'd be a mushy trigger, the trigger would be to the rear, and I would tap the bottom of the magazine to begin a tap rack reassess, and the trigger would reset. So obviously that sketched me out during the test. But to finish my point, yeah, I have a 19X. It's going to get delivered. I won't be able to pick it up. I'm at some training right now, unfortunately. I'm at some stolen valor training, according to Charlie right now.
USPSA stolen valor. Please get it right. It's more serious than regular stolen valor. You messed it up again. That's why I can't trust your torches. Stolen valor.
Yep, stolen valor here.
Thank you.
So I won't be able to start the test for a couple weeks.
Well, and so this is another thing in general that I wanted to talk about. So a lot of these destructive tests or these torture tests or whatever, even your own personal findings, with my Canic that is sitting at 10,000 rounds right now. my conclusions are not absolute. So like when I finish a video or my own personal testing, a lot of it is opinion, a lot of it is anecdotal. It is not like gospel truth, right? This isn't dogma. So I think what a lot of people have problems with is when people make absolute statements like, based on my results, therefore 19X, that's garbage, it's a bad gun, nobody should carry one anymore because you have like one fail a test that people have issues with the test to begin with. Not to mention that, again, we're talking about sample sizes of one, so making absolute statements off of your own individual testing isn't really all that useful, right? It can help, you know, maybe establish a track record, or maybe in conjunction with other people with more experience it might help, but it can't be just used on its own, basically.
Yeah, that's true. It's the same thing goes for automobiles, right? I don't know. I've been playing with that Daniel H9. I had the first one, sent it back, didn't have issues. Tons of people had issues with the first one. I didn't have any issues with it. It worked fine, but I sent it back. New one came back, had some mag issues. I worked through myself. Firing pin is starting to. Daniel just sent me a firing pin for that thing. They wanted me to send the gun back, but I convinced them I didn't want to do that. And the firing pin I posted in my story is completely redesigned from the one that came out of the already redesigned gun. You know, so like I want that gun to work, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. And eventually I'll post about that. I'm trying to work through it, right? You know, it's same thing. Everybody had issues. I had no issues with my first one. Doesn't mean that the other issues people were having aren't real. I just didn't have any issues.
And to be clear on my testing, I never said the Glock was a bad gun, right? I said I was disappointed. I titled it that I was disappointed and that, you know, it definitely let me down. And, you know, I was pretty upset, to be honest, about this performance, but it's still my carry gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what got my attention on the site one was, though, it's like the clickbait, right? You see that and you're like, Glock failed, and then you go to the video.
Yeah, of course.
Sites.
That's how YouTube works.
Well, so that's what I mean. That's why people get
it.
upset about that, is because it's like, you know, Glock perfection is cook, Glock's final stand, Glock 19 fails, burn down, Glock perfection on copium. It's those statements combined with, you know, some people don't like the testing or just the concept in general. That's where people are going to get mad.
Unfortunately, we're in a saturated. Unfortunately, we're in a saturated, not market, but you know what I mean, like content space where everyone's making reviews and I have no subscribers, right? So out past.
You have as many as I do, bro.
Yeah, you got like 51K.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have no. It's just when you it's kind of, what is it, what's that one fucking dude who talks about two-way stuff all the time and every title is Supreme Court
scholar.
Yeah, you know, so when you do stuff like that,
Biden removes the Second Amendment. It's so over. He's coming for your guns.
So when you put some crazy clickbait title saying it's over,
Biden is in my closet.
That. It's like,
I despise that. So what is it? You're talking about the fat dude, right? The like cop fat dude?
Armed scholar.
I don't know.
Armed scholar.
Wait, dude.
You're what's not weight blind, color blind, weight blind?
Yeah, dude.
Well,
2019, I don't see color, bro.
Yeah.
Your passion is USPSA stolen valor. My passion is fat people on the internet.
No, my passion is not USPSA stolen valor because I've never done that.
Are you accusing Armed Scholar of skinny stolen valor?
True. That is my accusation. Write it down.
Nah, dude. I personally, I think you just get, I don't want to say further, right? Like, I don't know, man. It's super clickbaity, those titles and stuff. And like I said, if there's new shooters, new viewers who's thinking about a gun or whatever gun, and they see that, maybe it sticks in their head like, oh, Glock sucks ass now. When
even if
it doesn't necessarily. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's the point. And obviously, you're doing like it's saturated, whatever it is. Well, let it be saturated, dude. Don't reach out for super clickbaity titles, And if you build a core audience and they like what you're doing and they like what you're putting out, then cool. Like, don't rely on the title, because then that's when the wrong message gets sent, and that's when you're in a room full of assholes like us that have to do things like USPSA stolen valor. It's no fun for anyone. That's all I'm saying. And then that's not even getting into your follow-up video, which I watched today about aftermarket triggers. I could go on for days about that, which maybe that's why I brought it up. But anyways, that's the point, dude.
We can disagree. You're not going to change my mind. It's everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I take it you like aftermarket. I don't. So.
Well, it's kind of the hard, because what was the title? What was the title of the video? It's like unprecedented.
Glock perfection is cooked.
Was it? No,
the discharge one.
Wait, the discharge video?
Yeah.
Uncommanded discharge pandemic.
Yeah, because in the video you're saying some pretty crazy, like, these aftermarket triggers will get you killed in the streets or something like that. And it's like, okay, there's some, right, Trigger Tech is having some issues. They put out a good video statement, like accepting responsibility, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, great statement today.
But then it's like, dude,
you got to date it in the right order.
I think there's a little bit now, like, I'm not the best in the world, greatest shooter, anything like that. And just when it comes to this mud test where Rads Arms is trying to you know, call out some stuff, but also he's obviously giving you advice like, hey, you can do this. Same thing with that. It's like, don't feel like you have to reach for clickbait cheat or anything like that just because you may not have the experience yet. Just like get the experience or reach out to other people. When I don't know shit, guess what? I bring someone else who's much better than myself on the channel, you know? Like, and don't USPSA stolen valor, dude.
Well, the Rads Arms, the Trench Grenade v Rads Arms started honestly because of the initial communication, and then someone sent me his stuff. It was a video, you know, it was an emotional video discussing my testing, and then, you know, we had an exchange, and then that's how it went down. And then we had some DMs with Focus involved, and, you know, there was just accusations being thrown around.
What was the military record thing about that you sent him? What were you even asking him?
Well, so I think Trench was going off in that, because I think I was part of that Discord or that group chat for just a second before you left, Trench. But I think you were asking him like, "What's your pedigree? You've never tested Glocks. You've never done something along those lines."
So
yeah, if I didn't do it, I don't know any, but I've been doing this stuff for a long time.
And I'm gonna be very honest, like, and I apologize, Rads Arms, for my reaction during the time that we had that first interaction with Focus and the whole like initial thing. You got to understand, I was being attacked by everyone that had ever carried a Glock ever in their entire life, even if it was for a minute. You know, and the most ridiculous claims about it was one batch of ammo to the next. It was, dude, it was Magpul's fault, not Glock OEM mags. You name it, man. It was everything under the sun, and you were just another thing into that pile, right? So I should have done better just being like, you know what, let's take a step back. But I reacted, right? You were attacking me emotionally, so I reacted emotionally.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you do have to expect, because I do see some of the comments on there. If you're going to do that type of stuff, you read some of the positive comments, don't even respond to the negative. Because trust me, I've called people out over the years, especially like Instagram all the years. And there's comments back when I was calling out Tim Kennedy before it was cool. I have his followers showing up in my comments, like destroying me. And my thing was, I'd go in and I'd like it. I'd like their comment. You know what I mean? Shit like that. I'd ignore it and like it. You know, you just have to ignore it. It's like, I don't know, it's like being a celebrity, right? You're in a small celebrity in a gun industry, a small industry. Like, think of those people on like TMZ, right? They get their pictures taken, they're doing stuff. You have to ignore that type of stuff because you're still getting the comments, you're still getting the engagement, and the algorithm picks that up. Whether they're positive, the algorithm doesn't know if it's positive or negative. So you kind of want that negative, some of those negative comments too.
Yeah.
And you want your followers.
You're 100% right.
You want your followers to respond to the negative comments, right? You want to build an audience that you don't have to even respond. They'll go in and they'll defend you or defend the position to that person. You don't have to do a single thing. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I used to do better at just ignoring it. I think over the time, like, because I grew my channel probably like a lot of us here from nothing. So I think over the time, at first it was 5,000, then it was 10,000. You know, and as things grew to where it is now around 50,000, it was like, damn, some of these comments are not based on anything. They're just hating to hate. It's just hate. It's hate to get a reaction. And you're 100% right. The second you give them a reaction, of any reaction at all, they're like, boom, got him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, but don't you think you're kind of doing the same thing? And like listen, when I put Orion Training Group, Jared, on a thumbnail next to his employee in latex with a Bible over it, like, I understand that that's a provocative thumbnail that I am using, right, to illustrate the point of you know, the Bible salesmanship that goes on between Valley OG and OTG, right? So I understand that I'm going to get Orion Training Group defenders in there, like, no, bro, this isn't a big deal. Well,
bro, he doesn't let me tag him anymore. Like, you know how you can't tag? He won't let me tag him because I tagged him in my video.
Mm-hmm.
You might have it set for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you blocked Rad's Arms like right away, didn't you?
Yeah, you did block me.
Like instantly.
And I'm honest, only you, Black Rambo, and Top Shot Justin are the only people to block me.
You got blocked by Black Rambo, dude?
Everybody in the industry. Oh yeah, he didn't like my video I posted, the voiceover I did of him. Like,
you know what's funny is that I thought, you guys remember when Black Rambo pointed his Desert Eagle at his son live on camera? Because he was like, look at this red dot. And his son's like sleeping in his bed. Yes. And he's just walking around his room, like showing it off, like pointing it at his son. And then he posted that video in his unevolved mind. He was like, this is perfect Instagram content. I will post this video of me pointing a Desert Eagle at my sleeping son.
I was blocked at that point. I just came across it. Somebody sent it to me.
Well, this has been fun. Rads, I hope we're good, man. I'm going to redo the test.
I got no hard feelings. Never have, man.
And yeah, obviously I reacted emotionally. I'm, you know, I don't like having bad blood out there. This isn't that serious, right? At the end of the day, I'm just trying to put infantry content, you know, all the stuff that I do. I'm just trying to do it with a clear conscience, right? So yeah, it didn't sit well with me. That's why when Focus initially was like, let's just have a conversation, I was like, yeah, let's have a conversation, man. And it didn't line up the other night. I kind of wish it would have. That way we could have squashed it. And
yeah, it's just, it was last minute for me. That's all.
No, that's fine. But yeah, I apologize, you know, for the interaction. I am definitely going to redo the test. If for nothing else, for entertainment, I still like to shoot, you know what I mean? And if guys don't like it, then I'll have to put, you know, for memes only in the title or something. I don't fucking know. So
yeah, just change some of your wording in the title. You know what I mean? Just a little bit, like as it's a question, right? Because that'll help kill some of that clickbait too. Like, did Glock 19 feels burned down with a bunch of question marks? You know what I mean? Just something simple like that's just enough that it's not making a statement, but it's an attention grabber.
I actually tested that today on the last thing. Yeah. I posted the same exact video, State of the World Urgent. John McPhee was a part of the video because he's been accused of stolen valor. I posted up all the references in the video.
Which stolen valor?
Not the real one, fake stolen valor.
Okay.
Not the one you're concerned about, Charlie. Okay. So yeah, I posted a thumbnail with him, and then I posted a thumbnail without him. If you look at the comments, it's hate his fanboys, and then when I changed the thumbnail, damn, this is crazy. I can't believe this. And all the evidence is on screen, right? So there is something to that of like hate is just going to be spawned in by the thumbnail and the title, period.
Yep, absolutely.
It's the internet, man. Even if they're perfect, you'll get it.
So
yeah, you just got to roll with the punches. That's just how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a fine line of bringing it upon yourself and you know, being accidental, right? There are some people who just hate when you call something out that they like PSA fanboys. Not a fan of my Jackal video, but everything in that Jackal video is correct, so they can sit and twirl, right?
Yep, you'll get that. You always do.
All right, gentlemen, I have been doing school things all day, so I need to go eat and do all the stuff, and study. So you guys have a good night. Rads, good touching base, brother. Charlie, I'm gonna go win a competition in my sleep right now in USPSA. So
I'm right there with you,
man.
Man.
Practice score. And Focus, thanks for having me on, brother.
Of course. Yeah, thanks for coming on, bro.
And to the Focus Trip audience, go fuck yourself. All right.
Yeah, they don't love you, man, but you have a good night. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Trench is a recurring character here, and the chat, it's mostly memes, but they do love to hate on Trench Grenade. All right, well, perfect. Hey, that's settled out that. So, Rads, I know that you talked about a little bit before we went live about some of the things that kind of brought you back into making more content.
I did it for a long time, voiceover stuff, and then I wouldn't post for months, or I'd do a meme that would get viral for a little bit. And I just kind of fell off. And then when the Tim Kennedy stuff started showing its face again, like the truth was coming out, that kind of like brought me back from the dead to start making more content about that. Only because I've been doing it for years. So I've seen all these pages and I'm like, man, I've been calling this out for years that the guy's a bullshit artist and everything else. And I just didn't have, factual proof like there is now.
Right.
Yeah, that. And then of course the 320 stuff. And I'm like, I need to get, every time I go to SHOT Show, like, I don't know, I want to start posting and doing stuff. I've never used my YouTube really. So I just got getting more active and do stuff again because I do enjoy it when I do it.
Yeah. So what else has been catching your eye as of late?
I mean, it's tough to say. This is always something every day. There's some, almost feels like every day. I think the 320 took the heat away from Tim.
Yeah, I think the 320 dominated the feed it's still kind of dominating the feed. I think anytime that somebody posts a picture of one for sale, and like I just saw another picture today of used in a gun store, M18, $90.
Gee.
So I mean, it was sitting. I think this one specifically was sitting next to like a High Point or something else that was more expensive than the M18, which just speaks to the lack of confidence that they have. Charlie, what about you, man? What's catching your eye in YouTube these days?
Honestly, YouTube, not much. I don't watch a lot of GunTube per se. I don't know, I fall asleep to history documentaries. That's about it. Honestly, that's what gets me going. I feel like there's so much shit out there, So
yeah, I agree. A lot of the GunTube stuff is just regurgitated over and over and over again. And then all the pages that were bigger pages is just advertisements every 5 minutes. And
Well, yeah, quite literally. You have like three sponsored sections in each video for some of these guys, and it's like, you know, it used to be cool because it was just individuals making content and it was very uncorporatized. But now that's reversed. It has just become like TV, and instead of like insert ads, you now have, you know, baked in ads within the video itself for 30 minutes or 30 seconds, 60-second ads or whatever they are every so often. And these guys are raking in $10, $20, $30,000 an ad spot for some of these things.
It's wild. And some of them don't even, there's like, you know, I've heard differing opinions about, you know, I was like, what the fuck? Did I just see a mattress commercial on a gun video? And then, you know, some people are like, well, you know, they could be pretty cool, non-gun stuff and gun videos. And I don't know. For me, it's just like, must be paying a lot, dude.
Pillow. There was a pillow ad on Facebook. You know, when you open Facebook or something, the app, and you see it, and then you go to it, it'll refresh before you can save it. It was like some sort of travel pillow, and he's talking about how he takes it with him places when he leaves the country. It was legit like a pillow yes.
He just takes it every single deployment he doesn't go on.
Yeah, so you can take it and bite on it or something. I don't know.
No, this is my special pillow here. I mean, listen, I'm pretty sure some of the audience would love that pillow if it came shaped as some sort of anime character. Jeez.
It's almost like we got through the gun bunny phase, and now we're just in what is this? Where are we at? In a weird.
Yeah, everybody's an expert, and then anybody who does have a lot of knowledge, if they're just starting out, they don't have the bankroll for the equipment and the editing and everything else, so their video comes off a little boring, and then they don't get the
Well, yeah, people make this statement, but if it's a big channel, if it's above 100,000, above 200,000, whatever, it's kind of garbage, right? It's very corporate, it's very samey, cookie cutter type content. But it's those small guys that are either super knowledgeable or experts in their field, like actual experts, not retards like me, like that actually have good opinions. The one channel that has done a really good job of not only gaining traction, but being like an objective expert with no content quality whatsoever is Ben Steger.
Yes, he kills it.
Yeah, and he's going to be past 100,000 subs soon. He has not like changed his content style. He just talks about whatever it is.
He talks too about something that's like even drama based. He's super mellow, like relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. Like, what was it when he was talking about? I think it was the Wholesome Samurai site or something like that.
Yes.
That video had me dying. And also, he knows what he's talking about. So it's kind of this weird thing where you get a lot of channels and you're just like, I'm reviewing this site, shoot 100 rounds, and it's like, cool, man, cool review. You know what I mean? You didn't really dig into it too much or whatever. But he'll put 15, 20,000 rounds easy through something. And he can talk about it. He has like experience with it. He has the knowledge, the know-how, everything. So you can watch him just talk about something and be like, yeah. You know, I said it on a different podcast that like, even if he hated me, I would still watch his channel to get an opinion on something. You know what I mean? Because I don't think he doesn't strike me as a type that needs to sell out for anything.
Well, and I think he's had some people like that who have had a history of not like selling out or doing that for a long period of time, because he's been in the gun industry for 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see. Whereas I talked to you about this earlier, Charlie, but basically there's that type of personality that is not really interested in selling out. They just like what they do and do what they like, basically. And then there's the other type where they get into the gun industry because they're like, well, I like guns, but I also want to make a ton of money. So they get in, and as soon as they get to an acceptable size to be attractive to advertisers, to be attractive to big companies, they sell out like instantaneously. And that's where you'll see, okay, guys, we're now reviewing this product from one of my sponsors, even though I'm not going to mention it. Oh, by the way, buy my mattress. Or have you guys checked out this crazy new video game called Raid Shadow Legends, or whatever ad that it might be?
Yeah, you see that, and that's the thing too. Is like, I mean, you can sell out to a point, but you got to look at it from perspective. Like, if I wouldn't purchase this, that, you know what I mean? That's your integrity right there. So if someone offers you, like, I mean, years ago, Olight emailed me about something. They wanted to send me like some flashlights and a small amount of money. I passed on it because I wouldn't buy one at the time. You know what I mean? But if it's something, that's how I think of it. If it's something that I would go out and purchase, then you know what? I'll try it. I'll maybe push it a little, but I want to run it. I want to make sure it works. I want to make sure it's legit. Yeah. The downside to that is if it's a piece of shit and you report that it's that, you ain't getting anything else from them. And I think that's what some people are afraid of too. And no one does a follow-up video. You get sent a gun on like some launch, you make it, you put 500 rounds through it, do a follow-up video a year later after you're shooting it. Same with like optics. You're talking about they put 100 rounds through it. How's that optic doing, few years down the road? You could make a small short about it. Hey, this thing's still working great. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like that too. Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
I was just going to say, I think especially like smaller channels or something like that, they'll get something in it. I think there really is probably a fear for a lot of dudes who do it. Like, shit, if I'm honest, or if I say something bad, guess what? Like, that's the truth. They won't send you anything else, unless it's one of the few companies that can take ownership and be like, yeah, we messed that up. Let's try and fix it.
Yeah, I think more companies would get better. Like, hey, we want an honest review, but like, let's just say the gun breaks. You let them know, hey, I'm going to do this review. This broke. You mentioned that in the video, because then you can talk about the other avenue, which is like the customer service part of it, right? Like, they sent the part out right away. The gun's fixed. Haven't had any issues since. You know what I mean? Or like, for example, I like that Daniel H9 a lot, but it's not a gun I would tell somebody like, oh, I want to buy my first handgun or my second handgun. I wouldn't say go get a Daniel H9. If you already own 5 or 6 good handguns, then sure, a Daniel H9 is a fun little gun. It's neat, stuff like that. I wouldn't tell them to buy it over any other handgun, honestly. But it's
I'm waiting for your video. I'm waiting for your video on that, dude, because I know there are some other people who put out videos on that particular gun, and it's like, oh, I fucking know something's going up in the background. I know there has to be an exchange of something. I think allegedly, but that's why man.
Yeah, well,
no, 100%.
I started doing it because I couldn't find anybody's follow-up, because I saw people post like they got
the initial video.
Yeah, and they shot it. Yeah. And I forget who it was. They even had the same magazine problem I had. When you loaded 15 rounds in the gun, if the slide was locked, you couldn't move it at all. And I'm not talking like it was, you don't have enough strength. Like, I don't know, the Glock 30 was coming for that. If you loaded a Glock 30 all the way up, you had to be like Hercules to pull the slide back, unless you let it sit with the mags for a while, the ammo in it. But it was a legit issue, and you couldn't even drop the slide on it. And on the back of the magazine, on the back of the followers, there was like this weird burr from like 3D printing or however they were making them, and it was putting the follower at like a weird angle. Small stuff like that. The gun has its issues, and I did get that light strike, and that's what made me take the firing pin out. And I'm like, whatever material, whatever coating is on it, it was just peeling off. You could scrape it off with your nail. It was in the firing pin channel. And now the new firing pin looks like the same coating the Glock uses, and the end of the firing pin is completely changed, almost as if they were having issues with the braking and made it stronger. And there's also a weird counterweight in the firing pin that's held on by like a little pin, and it kind of just rides in there. It's got no way to come out, but it just kind of rides back and forth. I'd have to take a power again and post a picture of it. Yeah, it's you can see there's like an oval shape in the firing pin, and it kind of rests in there and moves back and forth, almost as if to avoid light strikes, like it was an afterthought.
Right, like if you close the slide, it has like a buffer weight to slow it down a little bit.
Like
I don't bolt bounce in a freaking HK 416. Right, they had to.
Yeah,
it
has
a firing pin retainer in there.
It has a spring in front of the firing pin as well.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that type of thing sketches me out, because when a company with a new handgun, even though the H9 isn't super new, but when a company is having issues and they keep making changes and not telling anybody, I think that's sketchy long term. Because like with the SIG stuff of talking about the P320, they've made dozens of little changes here and there all the way along its service life, like between the different safety that came out in 2019, whenever they did that, but all of the individual parts for every single year are basically different. LFD's done good videos on like almost every single part has changed every single year in either geometry, shape, machining style, type, and so the point of these guns is to be modular. So like if you get a H9 10 years from now, let's say, you have no idea which little variation of parts you might or might not have if they keep making stealth changes to their gun as they figure out new problems and solutions, right? So that type of thing sketches me out.
And that's a whole nother trickle effect for content, Then you got dudes who are, they might get one, runs fine, everything like that. Another dude who is having troubles with it. And then it's like, even if they're trying to be honest, or it seems like a decent review, whatever it is, then it's like, oh, that guy must be lying. This other guys, or these 3 other guys, or something like that, So it's like, it just adds a whole new category. It's so weird. Such a weird thing.
Yeah, and then you get those like that. When I talked to Daniel on the phone, I said, are you guys ever planning on selling parts for this gun? Like, I can get a spring myself without having to send my gun in, because they wanted me to send the gun in. I'm like, I don't want, if I have to send this gun back again, my thought was when I get it back, it's gone. I'm not keep it. And they were like, just send us the firing pin back. We want to see it. And then obviously they've been seeing issues since it was changed. Not just the coating, it was the design of it itself was changed.
Yeah, like the total internal geometry, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
I forget where I was going to go with that, but
you were talking about SIG and stealth changes.
Well, stealth changes, yeah, that freaks me out. But let's talk about a non-stealth change, an objective change. The Trigger Tech Ace Diamond trigger that they came out with, right, for Glocks, having some issues. Johnny Glock's got his to go off pretty easily and repeatably, which is a problem. But then Trigger Tech, they just come out and say it like, yeah, you know what? We marketed this trigger wrong. This shouldn't be for duty. Like, this should be a competition-only style trigger, and we got some things wrong. You can either get a full refund on it, or you can swap it out to the new version or the duty version that they're coming out with. And so just completely admitting that they made a problem and being very public about the changes and the issues, rather than just, keeping quiet and then changing things on the back end and just not letting anybody know, not letting their current customers know who own these, who bought these, that, hey, by the way, these triggers might be a little bit unsafe in certain configurations.
Yeah, that's what a company should do. I saw that video, you shared it, and I had to share it because to me, that's a good company. I mean, especially if you don't know, like, you could be a good shooter but not really understand the engineering behind some of the guns. And when you see that, what looks like a switch that kind of goes in the back on that thing, that immediately skeeves me out and think the gun's not going to be safe. Stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because it entirely changes the way that the gun works.
Yeah, and if you don't have the knowledge for that, you're like, this is going to be great. You put it in at your house, and then you shoot the neighbor next door while she's making her soup or something. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Well, and I think somebody did a review on that I watched, and it was a really, really positive review. It was Achilles Heel Tactical. They got a couple of the triggers from Trigger Tech. They did a really positive review of it. He used it in a class, which was like 600 rounds or something like that. But even that isn't really enough, because in a class environment, you're probably not going to be exposing it to long-term wear or some of these other factors to make it unsafe, which is why I'm always very, very hesitant to give seal of approval to new products that like revolutionary new products, whether it's a new gun, a new trigger system, whatever it might be, because these novel designs, they just aren't tested. Right. So even if it works well for you, it's hard to recommend it to your entire audience.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff too, I look at it this way. I'll use I don't know, any company, for example, Smith & Wesson, right? They redesigned their trigger a little bit later on in the 2.0s. But let's just say they spend a lot of time, probably millions of dollars, researching that, designing it. And then you got some company that it doesn't really matter the brand. Some of them are bigger. They're not spending the same type of money and time researching. They're kind of looking at what's there. How can we make it a little better? There's not a lot of research and development behind it. They want to be first to market, and then it comes out, and then you got issues. It's the same concepts like I brought up cars before, because I was a big car guy too, is the aftermarket, right? The stuff that companies just pump it out. There's not all this money behind it in this department, going over it piece by piece. What's wrong? Testing this, testing that. They just pump it out first to market, and then it's trash. But if the company doesn't care, which a lot of companies don't, you've already made your millions of dollars on the backs of people that have junk parts now or useless parts.
Well, I think companies are kind of complicit in this with YouTubers, because like with the Daniel Defense H9, like a lot of Springfield launches, and there's a few other companies that are really bad about it, but they send the same gun to 12 different people and make the drop. You have 2 weeks, and we want to do a marketing push at the exact same time. So the content creators that accept it don't have enough time to fully test it, and it gives the veneer of them all being fake, and that's partially by design. So you get a lot of these really shallow, not in-depth reviews that all drop at the exact same time and are really positive because nobody's had the gun long enough, or the part long enough, the optic long enough to actually have any issues with them.
Well, who is it that put theirs on broker the next day? It was that.
Okay, so it was the Springfield Helion. Yeah. So he in the video he lied about it too, because in the video, I know that this happened, and I don't remember the name, but so in the video he lies. He says, oh yeah, we thought it shot 1,000 rounds through this, no problems. And then you see the same rifle on Gunbroker with the same background that was used in his video, and in his listing on Gunbroker he says 400 rounds. So he even lied about the round count, whether on YouTube or on Gunbroker, but he lied about it and then instantly sold the gun off. Just zero character, zero integrity for that.
I bet you that happens a lot with those
type of
product launches. Yeah. They don't keep them.
Well, I mean,
people don't get sent any money for that. I know they don't. They just get the product.
Depends.
Some of them can get paid.
Some of the bigger pages do, I'm sure.
Yeah. But listen, even getting a free rifle and selling it for $1,400. $1,400 is what, 3,500, 4,000 rounds of ammo on its own. So
it's quite a bit.
You couldn't even convert half of that into ammo and then pocket the rest. I mean,